You're 12 years old, standing on a porch in Pittsburgh, holding a box of garbage bags. The door opens. You don't ask if they want to buy, you tell them everyone needs garbage bags and you're selling them cheaper than the store. You make $5. Then you realize, if you buy in bulk, you triple your margin. You're 12, and you just discovered capitalism. 30 years later, you're a billionaire sitting courtside at your own NBA team. This is Mark Cuban. And the path from garbage bags to $6 billion is the blueprint they don't teach in business school. Mark Cuban grew up in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Blue-collar family. His dad upholstered cars for a living. They weren't poor, but money was tight enough that Mark learned early, if you want something, you work for it. At 12, he wanted basketball sneakers, the expensive ones. His parents couldn't afford them. So Mark knocked on doors, sold garbage bags, and bought them himself. But here's where it gets interesting. He didn't stop. Garbage bags became stamps and coins. At 16, during a newspaper strike, he drove from Cleveland to Pittsburgh, delivering papers for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. While other kids were sleeping in, Mark was arbitraging newspaper routes. He wasn't working for money. He was studying how money worked. Every hustle was a business education. And he was building something nobody could see yet, a tolerance for risk and an addiction to winning. 1977, Cuban enrolled at the University of Pittsburgh, then transferred to Indiana University, Bloomington. Why Indiana? Because it had one of the best business schools at a price he could actually afford. Even choosing a college was a business decision. He graduated in 1981 with a degree in management, but the real education happened outside the classroom. During college, Mark taught disco dance lessons, bartended, ran chain letter schemes, and then the summer before his senior year, he opened a bar called Motley's Pub. 20 years old, running an actual business. The bar did well for a while, then it got shut down. Turns out, when you host a wet t-shirt contest and a 16-year-old shows up, the authorities notice. Cuban lost the bar, but he gained something more valuable, a lesson about risk, compliance, and how fast things can go sideways. Most people would have been crushed. Mark shrugged and moved on, because he understood something critical. Failure isn't fatal, it's tuition. By graduation, he'd saved $15,000 from all his hustles. He was 22 years old with a business degree and a track record of turning ideas into income. Dallas was calling. Cuban moved to Dallas and got a job at a software reseller called Your Business Software. His job? Open the store in the morning. Simple. Except one day, Mark had a meeting with a potential client, a big sale. He chose the sale over opening the store. His boss fired him on the spot. Less than a year into the job, unemployed. Here's the moment that separates Mark Cuban from everyone else. He didn't panic. He didn't beg for his job back. He walked out and thought, if I'm going to get fired for closing a sale instead of opening a door, I should work for myself. The next day, he founded Micro Solutions, a software consulting and systems integration company. One employee, him. One office, his apartment with 5 roommates. The grind was brutal. Mark didn't take a vacation for 7 years. 7 years! While his friends were traveling, dating, living, Mark was working, writing proposals on weekends, cold calling, installing networks, learning to code, living broke with roommates while building a company. An employee once stole $82,000 from Micro Solutions. It nearly destroyed the business. But Mark didn't quit. He tightened systems, kept grinding, and grew the company to $30 million in revenue. 1990, CompuServe offered to buy Micro Solutions for $6 million. Mark was 39 years old. He'd gone from fired employee to multi-millionaire in 7 years. But here's what most people don't know. Mark made sure his employees got paid. He distributed bonuses so generously that multiple employees became millionaires from the sale. This wasn't just an exit, it was loyalty rewarded. $6 million. Most people would retire, buy a yacht, play golf. Mark saw it as seed capital. He'd proven he could build and sell a company. Now he wanted to build something bigger, something that would change an entire industry. He just needed the right idea. And in 1995, sitting in his apartment in Dallas, that idea arrived. Mark wanted to listen to Indiana University basketball games. He lived in Texas. The games weren't broadcast there. And suddenly it hit him. What if you could stream live audio over the internet? He called his college friend Todd Wagner. They started a company called AudioNet in 1995. The concept was simple: broadcast live events online. Sports, concerts, news, anything people wanted to hear in real time. The internet was exploding. Streaming was the future. AudioNet became broadcast.com. The company grew fast. Investors poured money in. By 1998, they took it public. And then came the call that changed everything. Yahoo wanted to buy broadcast.com. The offer, $5.7 billion in Yahoo stock. It was 1999, the peak of the dot-com bubble. Everyone was getting rich on paper. But Mark saw something others didn't. The bubble was going to burst. Yahoo stock was inflated. The entire market was overheated. So while other dot-com millionaires held their stock, convinced it would keep climbing forever, Mark cashed out. Immediately, he converted billions in Yahoo stock to actual cash, and 6 months later, the bubble popped. Companies that were worth billions became worthless overnight. Founders who were paper billionaires went back to zero. Mark Cuban? He was a real billionaire because he understood timing isn't just important, it's everything. January 2000, Mark Cuban walked into a room and bought the Dallas Mavericks for $285 million. A 31-year-old tech entrepreneur buying an NBA team. People thought he was crazy. The Mavericks were a disaster. They hadn't made the playoffs in a decade. Attendance was terrible. The team culture was broken. Mark didn't see a failing franchise. He saw an opportunity to disrupt an industry that desperately needed it. He upgraded everything. Players were staying in cheap hotels with no room service. He fixed it. Locker rooms were outdated. He renovated them. He didn't just own the team, he sat courtside, yelled at refs, got fined by the NBA repeatedly for criticizing officiating. In 2006, he was fined $250,000 for suggesting his team might tank. He paid it and kept talking because Mark understood being an owner isn't about sitting in a luxury box. It's about being in the fight. The culture shifted. Players wanted to play for Dallas. Fans packed the arena. And in 2011, 11 years after Mark bought the team, the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA championship. From basement franchise to champions, from tech disruptor to sports legend, Mark Cuban had done it again. 2011, Mark joined Shark Tank as a guest investor. By season 3, he was a permanent fixture. And he brought the same energy he brought to everything else. Aggressive, opinionated, willing to write massive checks for the right idea. In 2015, he made the largest offer in Shark Tank history, $30 million for a dating app. The deal didn't close, but it showed his philosophy. Bet big on people and ideas you believe in. But Mark didn't just invest money, he invested time. Mentored founders, shared what he learned from building, selling, failing, and winning. He even threatened to quit Shark Tank when producers tried to force entrepreneurs into giving up equity unfairly. He fought for the founders because he'd been there, broke in an apartment with 5 roommates, fired for making the right decision, building something from nothing. Today, Mark Cuban is worth approximately $6 billion. He owns a basketball team, has invested in hundreds of companies, changed how owners interact with fans, and he still lives by the same principles he learned selling garbage bags at 12. Work harder than everyone else, cash out when the timing's right, and never forget the people who helped you get there.
So, what do you take from Mark Cuban's blueprint? Lesson 1. Every no gets you closer to a yes. Mark got fired. His bar got shut down. Employees stole from him. He kept moving. Rejection isn't failure, it's redirection. The only real failure is stopping. Lesson 2. Timing is everything, but you have to be ready for it. Mark sold broadcast.com at the exact right moment, but he only had that opportunity because he'd spent 4 years building the company. Luck is when preparation meets timing. Be ready when your moment comes. Lesson 3. Sweat equity is the most valuable equity. Mark didn't take a vacation for 7 years. While you're sleeping, someone else is working to take what you want. You don't have to outwork everyone forever, but you have to outwork everyone when it matters most. Lesson 4. Share the win. Mark made his employees millionaires. That loyalty created a network of people who'd go to war for him. Generosity isn't weakness, it's strategy. When you win, bring people with you. Lesson 5. Disrupt or die. Mark didn't just buy the Mavericks and sit quietly. He changed the game, challenged the system, got fined, and kept pushing. Safe doesn't build empires. Bold does. Mark Cuban's story isn't about luck. It's about a 12-year-old kid who learned that if you want something, you figure out how to get it. Who got fired and turned it into fuel. Who saw the internet coming before most people had email. Who sold at the peak while everyone else was getting greedy. Who bought a broken basketball team and turned it into champions. You don't need $6 billion to start. Mark started with garbage bags, then sneakers, then a bar, then software. Each step built the next. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. The question is whether you're willing to grind for 7 years without a vacation, to cash out when everyone says hold, to get fired and start your own company the next day. The empire starts now. Not when conditions are perfect, not when you have more money or connections. Now. Mark Cuban proved it. From garbage bags to the Dallas Mavericks, from fired employee to billionaire. The only difference between you and him is he started. So start today. Hit subscribe if this rewired something. Comment what you're building. Let's disrupt together.